Back again for another episode of Go Long Live with your boy, Barry Long II. Don't forget the two, not the first, and I'm not the third. I am the second. We are live on today'scalifornia.com. We are also live on today'scanada.com. Shout out to all the Canadian folks. And we are also live on CoachellaValley.com. And speaking of the Coachella Valley, we got some good guests today. We're going to kick it off with Cody Krupp from, you guys know him from KESQ. He's now working out in Wisconsin. He has been live at the training camp. So he's gonna break down that terrible performance by the Packers. So it'll be interesting to bring him in. And we're going to be joined later by Captain Defense. He's ironing out some technical difficulties right now, but we will get him on the show. Let me bring my main guy in, Sage. What up, Sage?
Hey, how's it going, Barry?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. I'm doing really great after that Ravens game. I don't know how you're doing,
man.
bro.
Don't look. So I have this Lamar Jackson Fungo Pop that my son got for me, and I almost broke this thing. He told me don't take it out of the box because it's going to be a collector's item someday, but I almost broke this damn thing. We'll talk about that later. We're going to get to that game later. But yeah, we've got a gift card to give out, $25 to Dick's Sporting Goods. So if you guys, everybody can use a Dick's Sporting Goods gift card. I mean, I know I could right now. My son's playing football, and man, let me tell you, he's shifty. He I didn't juke like that when I was 9. But yeah, so we've got a ton to talk about. Football, of course, the Raiders versus the Ravens. Sage picked the Raiders, and they won. And it's a good pick by you, but I mean, that's low hanging fruit because you are a Raiders fan. So
I'll pick against them if I feel they're gonna lose, though.
Okay, my man. All right, so let's bring in right now Cody Krupp, former KESQ anchor. You guys know him. You know that pretty face. You've seen that pretty face.
Oh, stop.
How you doing today, Cody?
I'm good, man. Kind of the dust is now settled. Like you said, ugly Packers week 1, but we're a Wednesday, kind of looking ahead now, and yeah, it was pretty ugly though. There's no doubt.
A couple bratwursts, a little bit of cheese, and you kind of got over it.
Spotted cows. I don't know if you guys know what those are, but those are just a couple of those, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about the Packers game. It was an atrocious performance by the offense. The defense gave up, points to a really good squad in the Saints. We saw Jameis Winston kind of, maybe take a step forward. We don't know. We want to pump our brakes, but yeah, let's break down. What were your thoughts after watching that game?
Well, besides the obvious, ugly, embarrassing, disappointing, like you wait all preseason because we don't see the starters at all. Basically, the entire preseason, we didn't see Rodgers one time. We didn't see most of the defense. Coach LaFleur came over, learned from Sean McVay over at the Rams, and that was his style. I don't think Sean has played a single starter through his entire 4 or 5 years there. So that's kind of been Matt's philosophy. And they came out week 1 and looked absolutely terrible, especially, like you said, offensively. But the defense, when the first 3 drives were like 39 plays for the Saints. They went like 22 minutes, scored, the 17 points. Like, you put your offense right against the back, like right up against the wall at that point. And when they're doing that defensive formation against the Packers that we saw the Buccaneers do in the NFC Championship game, where they kind of let you try to run the ball, like that's kind of their style, the 2 over safeties. And when you don't have it, when you're down 17 and they still play that, then they're giving you the run. So if the run game isn't, you're ready, you have to run because that's the only way to get really around this defense, or at least to open it up. And you're down 17. Then Rodgers started forcing. Got hit in the nut sack in the down below.
You're good. I'm pretty sure those words aren't cuss words. I mean, they might be borderline, but
it's a fact.
He said that was the reason for his first interception, which was so tough because if you think about it at that point, I think it was 17-3, and then we would have made it 17-10 right after the second half. And then was an interception. It's a whole different ball game at that point. Saints go right down the field. And I think the day of, people were really, really disappointed and like, oh, this is going to, this is disaster. But I think that'll really happen if they lose on Monday night. I think like people are kind of all right. We're all right. Just one game.
RELAX. Isn't that what Aaron Rodgers said?
Exactly. Like, he's come out after some of these bad games and just gone off. So I'm not worried, but I will be worried Monday if they look even close to as bad as they did. But yeah, I think just the mindset now is just let's get Monday. So if you get Monday, then it's a whole brand new season.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were pointing at the fact that he missed training camp and because the situation that was going on in the offseason. And but Aaron Rodgers has been in this system for 3 years, so he knows what he's doing.
Yep.
It might be a few new pieces, but at the end of the day, it's the chemistry should be there. And yeah, I fully look for them to bounce back on Monday. Now, let's talk about the defense. Where are you guys at defensively? What do you need to improve? And what's your strongest point defensively?
Well, our best player is Darius Smith, in my opinion, on defense. He makes
former Raven. I'll point that out.
Former Raven, absolutely. Captain this year. Many people think it's because he's not vaccinated, or that's the word. Basically that's that's beside the point. But he only practiced, or he came into training camp with a back injury that didn't happen in football. We don't really know how it happened, but then he was out. He practiced one day, and then all of a sudden, like they're like, no, he's not good enough, or he's not healthy enough to be out there. Then he came back halfway through training camp, came back one more time, still wasn't ready. Then the week of, he practiced only spotting, like did it only individual drills, and I didn't think he was going to play for sure. But he was out there. He made a couple plays. He had that tough. Roughing the passer that kind of changed things a little bit too. That would, instead of an interception. I mean, at that point, the game was kind of over. But getting him back healthy is huge, and his kind of getting back out there. Kevin King, he was terrible. The defensive back, he stayed in Green Bay. A lot of people were surprised he decided to stay here. Like, people were very upset with him last year about some of his games, especially the NFC Championship. Comes back, gets picked on again. Jair is actually, he's the best player on the defense.
Okay.
He didn't play great, but he's a top 2, top 3 cornerback in the league. So they have the pieces there. It just I'm just going to attribute it to that they didn't play in the preseason. I really hope they're in Jacksonville. It's super hot. Like it was, I wasn't there, but it was, I guess the humidity was terrible. So you haven't played much in the whole preseason, and you come.
If you've been to Florida,
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy that they had to play in Jacksonville. But what was even crazier to me is that the NFL actually pulled off making it look like the Saints Stadium. I mean, of course, it's a dome and the lighting is different. But as far as the eye could see on the camera, it was Saints everywhere. So except when they panned out, then you saw that Jacksonville.
There was quite a few Packer fans. I think they outnumbered the Saints fans pretty well, though, inside there. So
y'all travel well. Y'all really do.
The only event you had to basically trade the loudness of the Superdome or whatever they call it now to the heat. And maybe in this situation, you'd rather just dealt with the crowd noise. We're not out there. We don't know what it's exactly like, but they just looked sluggish. They just looked like they had not played in a long time. So and
a team like Green Bay, which is used to the cold weather, they want you to come to Green Bay and play in that cold Lambeau Field in the playoffs.
Right.
Didn't expect them to thrive in that kind of atmosphere. But we know what the weather in Florida is like. It can rain at any second. It'll stop raining. The sun will be out. Then it'll rain right back the next 30 minutes. So yeah, I mean it was a pretty good performance by Jameis Winston. Would you agree?
He made the plays when he needed to. He looked really good those first 3 drives, and after that, he really didn't have to do much except a couple great 4th down plays in the red zone. Found his man. That's at the end of the day. A couple of those balls weren't even the best thrown, but he got
spoken like a true Packer.
Yeah.
I
think he almost eclipsed his career rushing yards against us too. His most.
He's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 5 touchdown passes with less than 150 yards.
That's wild.
It was a crazy stat that I saw.
Yeah, but if you watch the game, it made more sense. If you watch
the short fields that they had.
Yeah, and how he didn't need to. It was just all his yards probably came in those first 3 drives. I don't remember maybe all his touchdowns were really the only throws I remember after those first couple drives where he was running and mixing passing. And after that, he made his fourth down touchdown throws. That's all. I mean, what else can you ask from a quarterback than that when you need it? So, and I was actually really surprised how aggressive both teams were on these fourth downs. I think I watched, maybe 4 games on Sunday, and I kind of noticed that all through the league. First drive, the Packers had the ball on offense. They went for it on 4th and 2 or 4th and 1 on their own 30. I just don't remember that being a thing. But maybe that's just kind of how the NFL is going. You just can't risk punting to some of these teams. And then, especially the Packers punting it back and not getting the ball back for, 25 more minutes. So yeah, I was surprised by how aggressive teams. If you got Rodgers and you can't pick up a yard, then you got your own issues there. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty just for a second, but we are fine. And Cody, man, so we're gonna come to you every time there's some interesting news in Green Bay. And it's such a wonderful way that your career's played out. You went to Hawaii, and did I say it right? Hawaii.
Sure, close enough. Yeah.
And then now you get to be back in your hometown. You're working, for the news station that you grew up watching. You were on the court with Bobby Portis and Giannis and all those guys when they won the championship. You're on the field at Lambeau. Just it's awesome, man. We appreciate you for stopping by. But we're gonna come at you every time we need some Packers analysis.
Anytime, hit me up, brother. You know I got you. And Sage, it was good to see you.
Well, good to see you, Cody. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's so special to see where you came from, bro. You came from the Valley, go to Hawaii, and back to your hometown. That's special, bro. I'm proud of you, man. I know everyone from the Valley is rooting for you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The desert, always a special place to me. So always fond memories, great people. Could not have asked for a better place to kind of, get better at this. It takes a while before, as we all know, it's not. It doesn't happen in a day. So,
right.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? Hawaii will change you. Cody started hitting people with this. With that little, love it, man. Hey, thank you for joining us, Cody. We'll talk soon, brother.
Thank you, Cody.
Sage. So, man, it's a lot to unpack there with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. But, I fully expect them to bounce back, and I fully expect them to win that division. And I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. So, we have a tendency as sports fans to the first week we see a game, we're like, oh man, some fans want to commit suicide after the way their teams play. But we know, as long as we've been sports fans, that it's just week 1. It's 1 week, we will be back. So, we are live on CoachellaValley.com. We are also live on today'scalifornia.com. And we are live on today's Canada.com. Shout out to everybody up in Canada. And we have a $25 gift card to Dick's Sporting Goods. And if you're in Canada, we got some people that are listening over in the Philippines. We got some people listening down in Malaysia. We will mail it out to you, okay? And I don't know if they have a Dick's Sporting Goods in Malaysia, but
right.
We'll figure it out. But so what we're gonna do is the best comment of the day is gonna be brought up on the screen, and we're going to Sage. You're gonna pick. I'm gonna let you pick the best comment of the day. Right now, we have Alex Perez, who is just on fire with his comments. He waves a lot. He says hi, Cody Krupp. He said hi, Barry Long, and he says hi, Sage Alvarez. I was gonna say you can't forget my man. So Sage, we are waiting to see if we can hear from Captain Defense. He is the Ravens super fan. I know my phone blew up with 410 numbers because half of my family is in Baltimore, Reisterstown to be exact. And it runs deep. And when they saw Captain Defense on the show last time, I got all my family hit me up and was like, "Man, how'd you get Captain Defense?" I said, I pull a few strings. But so we'll see if Captain Defense can get on, because we really gotta talk about the Ravens. If he's still having technical issues, then we're gonna definitely bring him on Friday's show. But let's me and you talk about the game, because it was basically the Raiders versus Ravens. It's basically Barry versus Sage, right?
Barry versus Sage, and round 1 goes to me.
Yeah. It was a great start from the Ravens offense. We got it to a 14-point lead. And, Derek Carr, to his credit, he didn't back down. And he came out, with that same, he kept that same energy that he always has. And they ended up tying the game at the end. I will admit that I thought the game was over once Justin Tucker came out. I was like, okay, it's over. And I didn't think you guys had enough time. But with less than 40 seconds, Derek Carr makes two good throws, great throws down the field, and puts Carlson in position to tie the game with a field goal, and that's ultimately what happened. Now, when we got to overtime, Lamar Jackson, who already fumbled once during regulation, fumbled and ultimately cost us the game. And it was tough. It was tough to watch as a Ravens fan. I was out there at O'Kane's Irish Pub with TK and KCLB, and great crowd out there. And it was mostly Raider fans. We are very rare out here. You understand me? We are rare. There was one little lady that said she was a Ravens fan, but I didn't see a jersey. But Raiders fans, they come out in droves, and you guys are passionate. One of the most passionate fan bases in all of sports. And you got to love that. I mean, you don't love it when you're playing against the Raiders, but you love it when you don't have a dog in the fight.
Exactly.
But I would just tell you real quick, I was impressed with Lamar Jackson in the passing game. Now, Lamar Jackson has been traditionally a run-first quarterback. He was significantly inaccurate, in the first couple seasons. It was a little shaky. Right. And his ball security wasn't the best because he fumbled in 8 or 9 straight games his rookie season. Mm-hmm. So he kind of cleaned up those issues last year, and we saw that monster rear its ugly head. And but one thing I will say about Lamar Jackson is he has developed in the passing game a little bit better. His base is wider, so his legs are spread further apart, so he really can dig in and really throw that ball. And he looks more comfortable in the pocket. But the Raiders, they came and they kept coming. You got Max Crosby. Max Crosby had a hell of a game, didn't he?
Definitely his coming out party, because Max Crosby's here to stay as one of the prominent defensive ends in the NFL.
Absolutely.
It was also
Carl Nassib's coming out party.
That's true. It's
no pun intended. Because he.
No pun intended. Oh yeah, but I got you on that. And it's such a blessing to see just the complete Raider togetherness. Except you got Derek Carr making sure that Carl feels just as much of a Raider as he was before he came out.
Yeah, and he was the one that made the play. He was the one that ultimately knocked the ball loose and made the play, and that was just great. And as a Raven fan, I know we'll be okay. But what I was more intrigued by was what a great way to kick off the inauguration of Allegiant Stadium with a win like that, and then the emotional roller coaster that you guys were on, because you almost scored a touchdown in the first possession of overtime, which ultimately got moved back from penalties and mistakes, and then Derek Carr throws a touchdown pass to Willie Snead, who's a former Raven. And he goes right through his hands off of somebody else's helmet, and we ended up intercepting the ball. And it just looked like that's what the Raiders. It happens. It seems to happen that way every year. You guys get the worst calls. You get the worst luck of any NFL team, it seems. And it just seemed that the Raiders. It was their night. It was your night because you're a Raider.
It was a night that you typically don't see from the Raiders. You don't see them coming back from a great team like the Ravens. 14-0.
Say it again. What are we?
So
you're great, right? You said great.
You guys are great. You guys are great. Okay. Raiders are great too. And
I needed to hear that. I just needed some
great.
reassurance.
No, Ravens are great. They gave up the game, and we know that. They absolutely gave that game up to the Raiders, and to the Raiders' credit, because they got that chance. Usually, they don't take advantage of it. They took advantage of it this time, and I was really proud. I was really proud to see the defense. I mean. I've been talking trash about the defense. I'm like, please step up, because you haven't stepped up. You haven't done the things that would make this team a playoff team. We always, and the media will go on Carr, which is wrong. Stats and just eyeball, you're wrong. He's a top 10 quarterback in the league. After that performance, to reassure fans that he wasn't a fluke, the defense is here, and like I said, the defense shows up. The offense was going to get more on the field, more time, more togetherness. And you see that, Waller just gets the ball like almost every time, man.
Yeah, he's always. It seems like he's always looking for Waller. Right. We tried to double team him. There's only but so much you can do to contain Darren Waller. He is a freak of nature at the tight end position. And yeah, Derek Carr, man, he never looked scared. He never looked like the moment was too big for him. And look at those eyes, man. Is that Jacksonville Jaguar green? I mean, you looking if you're in the huddle and you looking at those eyes, you better be paying attention. But to the play call. But yeah, so I was impressed with Derek Carr's ability to continuously bring this team back. You're down by 14. He brings it back. He ties the game. You guys, I mean, you had to have that last drive to go down to tie the game up. Then he goes and has a great drive on the opening possession of overtime, and that doesn't go their way. And then he comes back and does it again. So, I mean, and it was a cover zero on that last play, the last touchdown to Jones. The Ravens basically, they put all their chips in, and Derek Carr burned them. And
he had a photographic memory. He sees those plays, and he talked about right after the game, like he had that play about like 3-4 weeks ago. If we get this cover zero look, he read it. He's like, they're cover zero. This is gonna be Zay Jones, and to give Zay Jones a lot of credit. I mean, Derek Carr said hardest worker in the Raiders organization, and for him to get that touchdown after getting traded to the Raiders, and he had a really decent role in the team. It wasn't a big role like maybe Gruden had planned for him to be in, but for him to have that moment, it just justified the Raiders trade. And going forward, I'm excited to see what the Raiders receivers are going to bring to the table. Henry Ruggs had a little sloppy game, but I expect him to be a lot better after this game. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, and to the Ravens' credit, we are secondary loaded, and we had in my opinion, we had the best secondary in all of football. But when you lose Marcus Peters, who's had some criticism, I mean, he played phenomenal with the Chiefs. He goes to the Rams. He struggles. He gets burned on a few plays, and they got rid of him. He was expendable, and he came into Baltimore with that Raven, play like a Raven mentality, and he's kind of settled into that role. But you don't know what you lost until it's gone. And we had some young corners in there. I mean, we got Tavon Young back from IR last year. We had a young guy, Westry, in here. We actually got younger after the injury, but there were some plays where we just got flat out beat, and it was hard to watch because the Ravens, typically our strength of the football team is the defense, and it was the weakest. It was the weakest link. That's what it was, and it was tough to watch. But Derek Carr, man, and can't give enough credit to that guy, man. He stepped up, and he's had it seems like it's been a rocky relationship between him and John Gruden. Seems like John Gruden doesn't want to give him his shine. And but now, Derek Carr never wavers in front of that pressure either. He's a really, really decent quarterback. You call him top 10. I'm gonna say he's number 11.
Okay, we'll go with it. I'll let you slide on that one for now.
Let me slide on that. This is Sage Alvarez right here live with me, Barry Long II. We are live on todayscalifornia.com, todayscanada.com, and CoachellaValley.com. Now, if you want to win that $25 gift certificate to Dick's Sporting Goods, you only have 6.5 minutes left. And right now, our best comment is coming from Alex Perez. It's not Perez, it's Perez. Shout out to Alex. So if you think that you have a better comment than Alex, then why don't you come and win this $25 gift card? We are talking right now a little bit about the Ravens and Raiders game. It was the Monday Night Football game. It was a pretty good game. But Lamar Jackson ultimately was the reason why we lost the game. And I mean, first of all, he needs to lose that Tyler hairstyle. Like only 3-year-olds have that hairstyle. I want my quarterback to look a little bit more polished, I guess. I don't know what the word is. But yeah, but Lamar Jackson, he's great. He's phenomenal. We know what he's capable of doing with his legs. He looked great with his arm at times, but ball security is going to be beneficial to him moving forward. And if he continues to make these plays in critical possessions and critical moments of the game, then we might not even make the playoffs. And that might be some of my fandom talking, but I feel like Lamar Jackson has to play better. How do you feel?
No, he's got to play better. Definitely disappointing to lose a game of 14-0 against the Raiders. You got to, there's always that saying is you got to put the pedal. You got to put your foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
When you lift that off, and you're like, okay, we're good. We're up 14-0. It's like, well, they get a touchdown. They're in the game. It's one possession now. But if you get one more touchdown, one more stop, it's 21-0. And that's the thing with the Saints and Packer game. That's a good point. Is that there was no shift in momentum. Like Packers had a chance to score, make it 17-10, and it's a game. They throw a pick, and it's basically over at halftime. Like unless you come out ready to go, they weren't ready to go second half. So that's exactly what happened in the Packers Saints game. It fell apart so quickly in the beginning that there was no chance to okay, we can get it together, guys. And that's what the Raiders had a chance. The Raiders took their opportunities to get back in the game and then made the most of the opportunities. Definitely disappointing loss for the Ravens. I'm still with them as a playoff team.
You think so?
I think there's a little. I believe that the Raiders are actually a great team. So they played a great team to overtime. I don't see why Ravens aren't taking care of business against the weaker teams.
Yeah. The Raiders look like they're playing well. They're clicking on all cylinders. They got the defense playing well, special teams play well, offense play well, and I mean this is exciting for Vegas. It was wonderful to see football in Las Vegas, and it was kind of up in the air. Like, man, a lot of people were thinking that some of these professional athletes, along with the Golden Knights, they would get caught up with some kind of professional bookie, and they would start throwing games, and that was like the worst case scenario. But it actually, and the fact that there was not a legitimate stay-at-home fan base in people's eyes, because Vegas being such a tourist town. But I'm here to tell you right now, there are people living in Vegas, and they probably don't even go to the casinos, but they are going to show up for their team. And
Raider fans are driving from LA, man. I was trying to. Someone told me the other day, the NFL, we don't think fans are driving from LA. No, you don't think fans are driving from LA when we're looking to go for a 2-14 season. The Raider fans are going to show up, man. They still showed up for those teams. So
if y'all were 0-15, y'all are cheering just as loud on game 16 as y'all were on game 1. And that's what you got to love that. You got to love passionate fan bases. And out of all the sports, I would say that the Raiders are the most passionate fan base. And that's saying a lot because you got a lot of good teams in different sports. And but the Raiders, man, just shout out to them. And if you're going to lose a game to anyone, it might as well be your team, Sage.
Right.
Also, we saw we have about 2.5 minutes right here left on Go Long Live with Barry Long 2 and Sage Alvarez. We are live on today's California.com, today's Canada.com, as well as CoachellaValley.com. Now, I just want to get your opinion on what the WFT should be WTF should do at the quarterback position. They had Fitzpatrick, who they thought was going to turn into Fitzmagic. And he ended up getting injured, and I mean he went out the game with a hip injury after getting tackled. You know that you're starting to get up there in the years when you start getting a hip injury from just a simple tackle. But I don't know if he's going to bounce back. I don't know if he'll come back. So you put Taylor Heineke in. He was wonderful in my hometown of Virginia Beach in Norfolk. At ODU, he set records out there. I mean, it was like, who is this kid? You keep reading about it in the paper, but now he's in the NFL, and the fan base is torn. Half of the fans want him to be the starter. Half of the fans want them to go out and get Cam Newton. What do you say?
I'm saying get Cam. And okay. I believe that this Washington football team needs to change the culture. Ron Rivera doesn't have a year where he can get another bad record. He needs to go out and get Cam and show the team that they can win. Too many coaches get caught up. I wasn't the biggest Tyrod Taylor fan, but I'm glad he did great against Jacksonville. But I wanted them to get Cam too. But you can see for the Texans, they're like, if Tyrod doesn't do good, we'll take the high draft pick. And I'm interested to see if Washington has the same example, because to me, if Taylor goes down, who do you have after him even? So
the one thing that people are concerned about with bringing Cam Newton into Washington is the fact that he's so anti-vaccination, and Ron Rivera he's got a compromised immune system. He's got cancer. He's battling. So you would think that their relationship and the way that it transpired and ultimately blossomed when he was in Carolina started off a little rocky, but they were really tight. And you would think that Cam Newton would take that into consideration if joining that team. But a lot of teams don't even want to. They don't even want to bring him in because he's been an MVP in the league. And if as soon as your starter starts playing bad, you got those chatter from the crowd, and it's very intimidating for a young quarterback to have Cam Newton as your backup.
And that's why the Patriots cut him. And that's the unfortunate part, because I think that was a huge mistake on the Patriots. But I mean, if they believe Mac Jones is going to get them to a barely missed playoff record, then kudos to them. I think that they missed the ball on this year. I thought they could have competed more with Miami. They did a good job last week competing against them, but I think over on the record, I think Miami is going to take it over the Patriots. But we'll get into that.
Are you picking Miami to win that division?
I'm picking Miami to win the division.
Not Buffalo. Buffalo got off to a rough start, but they played the Steelers, and the Steelers.
They gave. Oh man, one of those. That was the type of game where the Bills thought they were just going to come in at the end and just beat them. Like they thought that they could have a sloppy game, and so that pump block just it cost them the game. They couldn't come back. The Bills are going to win that game, but until that punt.
Absolutely. And, that's what these NFL games come down to. Just one split decision, one mistake, one great play, and the game goes the other way. So, yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh is a tough team, and I think we got to give Buffalo a little bit more time to where we can figure out if they're going to be contenders in this division. But I do like Miami. I do like the progression of Tua Tagovailoa. I love Brian Flores as the defensive-minded head coach. And they've got shutdown corners so good that you don't even really need a pass rush because these guys are going to get you covered sacks. So I'm excited to see that division is going to be one that plays out, and I think we're not going to know who's going to win that division until like week 13, week 14, because you've got a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones.
I'll seem to lose the connection.
And we had a little technical issue, but we are going to bring on Captain Defense. I promise you on Friday. He's got to iron out some details. And Sage, man, great show.
Oh, great show, Barry. The second, not the third, not the first.
Hey, somebody hit me up. I saw a guy out, and he said, "Hey, aren't you that dude from the show?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Not the first, not the third. You're the second." I appreciate that. And we are going to be coming to you live at 12:30. All right, that's my turn. 12:30, but 12:30. All right, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And as the show keeps progressing, we'll eventually get to 5 days a week. But appreciate you, man. Great show, and we'll talk on Friday.
And we'll talk on Friday. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at SageDub and on Facebook at Sage Alvarez. I'll make sure I add you as a friend.
Absolutely. And add me. I am Barry Long II on Facebook. I'm Radio Barry Long on Twitter and Barry Long _2 on IG. Remember this week, FMI. Stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired. And remember that you're capable of doing anything. So go out and do it. We'll see you on Friday.